Once upon a time, Polly ran frantically through the dark forest of fear and doubt until one day she slowed down enough to notice the trees were beautiful. The more she noticed the trees, the less she saw the darkness. She discovered she was in an olive grove rather than a forest. This is when she uncovered her magic truth. Polly's purpose is to shine in every way. Welcome to her manifesting success story. Hello and welcome to this episode. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I am back with Paulie. It is February 23rd, 2023, and I am so excited to be here to celebrate Paulie's graduation or 5 years in the Enchanted Circle. So welcome, Paulie.
Hello, Cassie. Thank you for having me back after all these years.
I know, I'm so excited. These might end up in the same episode, or this might be a couple of episodes, but we are going to cover money manifesting, things that make the law of attraction work, and your best manifestations.
Amazing.
Which I'm excited about. Yeah. I want to ask this question first. How do you do the law of attraction differently than you did 5 years ago before you started?
Great question. The law of attraction is different because the way I'm doing it, because I know that the law of attraction works for me instead of me having to work for it, which is huge because, I was just listening to the interviews that have just come out, which is so amazing because those came out in 2020 and hearing back and how I would muscle so much of it. Like I would force everything. And I was really proud of all the things, many things that I had done, but they didn't come easy. They didn't come with like, it wasn't just a sigh of relief. It was like, but I have to do this. I have to plan this and I have to take care of everything. And
Yeah.
so that was the biggest thing is knowing that the law of attraction works for me, and the easier and more simple it is, the greater it is. And the more fun it is because I'm not putting effort, like sweat equity into making it happen. It's happening because I'm off dancing or I'm traveling or I'm doing something that I love to do.
Yes, that's awesome. So tell us, what would you say are the top 3 to 5 things that you have manifested in the last 5 years?
Absolutely. So I'm happy that I had a second to think about it. The biggest, without it, actually, I would say that, the human needs, all of them have been met, in terms of love, in terms of shelter, in terms of a dream career, in terms of happiness. I think all of that have been exponentially gone through the roof. So since I've met you, I mean, I have, I just I had been with Luke, the love of my life, but that gets better and better. And I had just finished a contract when I came to you 5 years ago. And from that contract to where I am now, money comes to me. And there are times where I'm worried, but with the work, it's like, of course it's going to come to me. And I get to charge more for less time. So that's talking about, my value, my own self-worth. That has gone through, still working on. It's a constant practice, but my self-worth has been deepened and expanded, which is so valuable. And in terms of my acting career, I've been doing one of the things you asked me is like, am I getting more parts? And it's not about the parts that I'm getting, but it's the few parts that mean the most to me. So, getting to be Perdita on the 101 Dalmatians, that's something I really wanted and I got. I'm still working on my dream role that's coming. So the quality of projects are coming to me versus I recently came across like the spaghetti method where you toss everything onto the wall and like see what sticks,
Yes.
versus having like a perfectly cooked, beautiful pasta. So all of that stuff has really been deepened and expanded.
I love it. We can't give too many details, but I do want to talk. Oh, actually, I want to mention, and also you manifested acting in many different languages, which is an
Yes.
intention, right? That you set.
Oh, yes. It's something I've always wanted, but I didn't know how because I've always loved languages and I speak English and Spanish natively. And I started learning French when I was in high school. And I had this sensibility towards languages, but I didn't know if I could get paid. And so not only have I gotten paid, like I've gotten to do amazing projects because of it. You know, I got to do work on Emily in Paris because of it. And I got to work on this beautifully elegant French liqueur in French, you know, as a native French speaker. So that's a dream. And now I'm going into Italian, and I have family that speaks German. So I know that possibilities are endless, and it's fun to learn. That's the best thing. It's I get such a kick learning these languages, and I think it comes across when I get to audition for them.
Yes, that's awesome. And you mentioned something like you didn't know how to make that happen. And so tell us how you leveraged the law of attraction or how it happened. Like how did it happen?
Well, as you say, all I knew is what I wanted. I wanted to speak these languages, and I want to get paid to work in different languages. So that was the first thing, is like knowing that that's what I wanted. And then the pandemic happened, and I had all this free time, and I thought, well, what a perfect time to hone skills, you know. So of course, all these, and then my boyfriend who speaks one language, bless his heart. I mean, you know, it's American. He was like, "Oh, there's this some ad popped up for him for Reply, which is a language learning thing, and then there's Babbel, and then all these things started to come, and I just gravitated towards that and found teachers, and then they just showed up, and it was a perfect time to be home and learn. And then like opportunities happened. They just came because I knew what I wanted, and then I followed inspiration. And it was fun. All of this was so much fun to, you know, explore, can I do this? And just taking one step, then the next step, and then seeing it all happen.
I love that. Amazing. One of the other things that you had mentioned to me for manifesting, I just want to hit these top five, was going to like countries that other people wouldn't suggest going to, right? And
Right.
so you manifested that. Tell us how. How did that happen? What manifesting techniques, things did you use to create those amazing experiences?
It's so funny. It came to me. How did it happen? Sitting on the couch watching YouTube. Like that's how it happened.
Yes.
Literally, like that's exactly how it happened. I was, you know, we were just eating and snacking on the couch, Luke and I, and we love, you know, we have friends that have our world-class travelers on YouTube, and we popped up, you know, we always watch them because we just love watching them, our friends and people that we don't know. And one of our friends was in Afghanistan. And I was like, no, no way. There's like, of all the crazy places, quote unquote crazy, Afghanistan, top, you know, it's a place I never thought I would actually get to go. And from just sitting on the couch, I messaged our friend Jay. Jay was there with a woman named Emma, introduced me to Emma. Emma figured out all how we can get all the visas. And in 10 days, we were in Afghanistan. But literally, it happened from the
Yes.
couch.
Yes. And there wasn't a lot for you to do. Like, I want to pull this story apart a little bit for other people, right? It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I want to travel to this country. I have to figure everything out,
Hmm.
right? It was like, oh, I would like to do that. I feel
Hmm.
inspired. Let me take this step and contact this person and this person. And there wasn't a lot that you did other than book a plane ticket, right?
And it was every step was, oh, I have to do this now. Oh, I have to do like it wasn't there wasn't like it wasn't a buffet of options. It was this is the obvious next step. And it all like getting the visa, we had to go to Pakistan first, getting the Pakistani visa and then the Afghani visa. That that just saying it was so overwhelming, but then it just happened. We got help. And it was Memorial Day weekend, so the embassies were all closed, and somehow we still got the visa. So that was amazing. And I was going to say one other thing about I had done work before, like in the past years, because I would love to go to Afghanistan, and I'd love to go to Syria, and I'd let these countries really. pull me. And so I had reached out to people. It was going to be so expensive because of the American visa. It was going to take at least 6 months to get approved. It was all this stuff. And I was like, I can't. I'm going to go back to my French lessons. It felt so complicated, and I was forcing it so much that it just, put it aside. And then this happened, and it turned out that the guide that we went with was the guy I had originally talked to, but it just happened to be that it was him. It just all happened to work out in a line. So it was, yeah, I had the reference point of forcing it back a few years ago to like 10 days and everything. And we were in Afghanistan.
Yes. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And your dream role, like there's still some things we just need to call it your dream role because it's
Hmm.
still there's things being worked out. And in the acting world, if you're a listener who doesn't know, there's often things you can't say until it's time to say them, right? And
Hmm.
so just tell us without, telling us about this project, like how did that unfold and what were some law of attraction keys for that? It's
Well,
still happening.
it's still happening. And I have something that I wanted to mention to you, which is really interesting. But it happened, it's always been in the making. So this is why I trust so deeply that it's all a timing thing, because it's been the thing I've wanted the most since I was a little girl. And I knew it was going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I just had no idea how or where, but I know I just know it's going to be in the best way possible. So I've loved this dream role. And then in college, a friend of mine wrote a short film, and I played this dream role on a smaller scale. And that short film got into the hands of the bigger, you know, decision makers, the world class decision makers. And then during the pandemic, I mean, it just everything that has happened where from being a little girl to wanting this, to meeting somebody in college who wrote this little thing for us, to getting into the hands of the people, the great big people, to getting this opportunity and being asked to learn to sing because I wasn't a singer, getting asked to do things I didn't think I was able to do. All of that is it, and with the right people and with the beautiful story, everything is coming together. And it hasn't happened. It's still in the works, but I know it's a timing thing. Everything is for it to be the best possible outcome. It's all coming together in whatever way. And it's been maybe 3 years since I've known about this part. Um, but every every year, and I remember mentioning like, oh, what are you excited for in a year from now? And I said, I'm excited to see where my skill set will be a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's been a year, and I'm so seeing how I've gone from last year to now. I can only imagine how much more skilled I will be and deeper in the becoming of everything I will be because I'm where I am now. And I'm a lot further ahead than I ever thought I would be a year ago. So growth is exponential, and it's really exciting. And what I wanted to mention was I was on BuzzFeed, like I was on, scrolling Instagram, and BuzzFeed came up, and it was like actors that like were too desperate for a role or something like that. And I was like, oh no, oh gosh. But I was like really curious, and one of them stood out for me, and it was I forget the actor's name, but he really, really, really wanted to be the lead in The Life of Pi, and he devoted 6 years to. He was like obsessed with this part, and he like whenever there was a new director, he would research them, and he would like just go all into one, and then things would change, and he would just like he was so focused on this part, and then he didn't get the part, and he was like it felt like somebody died because he dedicated 6 years to one part. And I thought this was like a slap, like a wake up call for me, because this is my dream role, and we've talked about this, like this means so much to me. And I would say in the past, like, this is everything to me. But reading this story, it's like, no, it's not everything. It can't be everything, because I felt so like such compassion for this actor that didn't get the part after 6 years. And I was like, no, but why did you make that everything? So it was like, it was a big wake up call for me. It's like this, whatever happens with this part, I would love nothing more than to play this part, but I've made it everything. And when he said it was like someone like died because he didn't get the part, I was like, that is not me. This is not going to be the death of something in me. This is just the evolution, and this is going to be a growth, and this is going to be something huge. And all of this has happened for me to get to somewhere amazing. And I don't know what it is, but it will be amazing. It could be this part or it could not be, but that's what I wanted to tell you, is a wake up call for me that it's not everything. It's something wonderful, but there's so many other wonderful parts. And who's to say they wouldn't be even more wonderful, if that makes any sense?
Yay! This is everything that we have been coaching towards, is this moment
Everything.
of what you
Literally.
just said.
I know, I
Because
could cry.
that is who you were. This
Hmm.
is everything, and everything hung on that, and everything to that. And for you to, and we've been, I want to say working hard, but you were ready and you were open
Hmm.
for this point to be pushed, right?
Hmm.
In the letting go process. And for you to come across that and to realize, like, no,
Yeah.
that is not going to be me,
Yes,
is
I had to literally say
huge.
that out loud. Like, no, this is not going to be my story. So, and there, it's been hard lessons because I'm like, no, Cassie, you don't get it. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And you're like, but you have to be okay if like you're still going to be your future self even if that doesn't happen. And I'm so attached to this. I'm like, there's no such thing as Polly without this part. So it was like as if I was reading my story through this actor. And I was like,
Yes.
no, that it suddenly clicked, like this is what we've been working on.
Yes. And this is, I mean, what I love about the law of attraction and the work we do is that everything we've done, like when you finally get the opening like this, like you get it and you're ready, like I can feel like you've shed all that, even just hearing you talk, right? And this is the first time I'm hearing this part, which is awesome. Um, when you shed that, like it's so much opening. There's so much space for so much more. um, and everything that you've done, like all the investment into your future self, like it's like it's going to be like a floodgate because you have this space, you have this opening, you have finally like, no, I'm going to be me, not this
Hmm.
part.
Hmm. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's so profound because you've known me for 5 years, and it's my one dream role has never changed. And so,
Mhm.
so to get to the part where it's like it's not my dream, like I'm thinking of this right now, but I'm the dream for this part. It's me that's the dream, not the part. So, and that's great because I take myself with me. So I am the dream for any role that comes instead of making it outside of myself, which is something we've worked on with my scripting. Like it's me that is, ground zero, not something happening on the outside. So yeah, it's a lot of lessons unfolding at once, but they're all clicking now.
Yes, I love that because I want to ask you if the first thing I said to you when you first came to me was like, you can't have this dream role.
Hmm.
Because I led it as a coach, knowing and seeing where you were, right? It was more than 3 years in before I brought up this, hey, we might want to also see ourselves instead of just the dream role,
Hmm.
right? But if I had said that to you on day one, what
I'd
would
be
have
like, bye, Cassie. Like, gotta
exactly?
go. Yeah, don't get it. Yeah. Yeah. No, but
Yeah.
I was the one not getting it, that I was limiting myself to being one thing when I'm so much more than one thing. We all are so much more, and you've called me on this so many times. I felt like the only way to become something was to go through one role because that's the thing I'm most confident in. But the journey is that I'm confident in me being something that I choose to be versus I have to be something outside of myself and be that person away from me in going into a career versus just me. Just little me, Polly, not little Polly, but like just myself. And it's so much obviously it's powerful because it's
Yes.
me. Hmm.
Oh my gosh. So if someone said to you, well, you were here, you worked the law of attraction for 5 years and you didn't get that thing you wanted when you started,
Hmm.
having this revolution, like revelation, what would you say to that? What would be your response? Like, would you still do it? Would you say that you've grown? Like somebody's like, but you didn't get that role. Like, what would you say back?
I would just say, like, just watch me, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say, what, like, oh, that, you know,
Ah,
look at everything else that I've done and that I'm going to do, you know? So yeah, I know I wish I could show your face right
no.
now because we've worked for, this has been a tenuous process, but it's coming, it's landing. Like the earth ship is
Yes.
landing on me. So yeah, no, and you've stuck by me because I've been so stubborn about this that no, like this is the way. And it's interesting because so everything that hasn't been stubborn is working out.
Right?
You
Like
know?
speaking in other languages,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Getting paid for that.
exactly. My love life with my beloved boyfriend and traveling and my coaching business that I don't, I love, but if I didn't do it tomorrow, I'd be so happy. All of that has really expanded and deepened. But the one thing I've been clinging on to because I defined myself this way hasn't. It's like the outcome that I want hasn't happened, but everything the artistry and the dedication and the discipline and the skill set has been growing. So yeah, I'm excited I, I'm still working on it, on letting that go, but at least like this story about this kid, and I need to look up where he is now, the Life of Pi guy.
Yeah.
Um, but that alone, it's like, oh, this is
Yeah.
what Cassie was talking about.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I love what it's opened up for you because you can see you said it so beautifully. I don't remember exactly how you said it, but like, I'm the dream, not the role, right? Like, your life
Hmm.
is the dream. You are worth
Hmm.
being the dream. And I think that worthiness, you mentioned that in the beginning of the interview, but part of that is the worthiness. Like, you have become worthy without that, without, like, you
Hmm.
don't no longer need that role to define yourself as worthy or to make you worthy to the rest of the world.
Yes, yes, which is innately true, but I didn't believe that. So
Mm-hmm.
before I was learning ballet for the part, I was singing for the part, I was learning all these things for the part. But that was just, I guess, the universe is so intelligent. That was the universe being like, okay, you're only going to do it if you think this is going to happen. So it's like the carrot being dangled in front of me. I was doing it to get that carrot, but now I'm doing it. I don't need the carrot. I'm doing it because I can do it and I want to do it. And soon it'll be that ballet and languages are who I am. And I get to do it for me, not because of to getting to do something that I was so attached to, which might very, very well happen. But in the meantime, I've grown as an artist for me. And that's just extraordinary.
Yes, yes, yes. And for those of you listening, like, that dream role, what we're calling this dream role, really was how.
Hmm.
And now that you're letting go of that how, so many other things are going to come because so often people, in the questions I sent out before, you asked this question, like, do you ever see people don't get what they want or their
Hmm.
desire? Yes, two things happen. That there's two reasons that happens. Number one is this, that their desire, what they think they want, is really in how that they are deeply attached to.
Hmm.
And the how is not like, it might be what they want, right? But it's not
Hmm.
what they really want. It's how
Hmm.
they think they're going to get what they really want. And very often those desires don't manifest or they don't look the way that we thought they would because they were a how, right? And so I see that as a number one place where people, why they don't get what they desire. And number two is they just quit doing the work for it, right? Instead of telling the story that this is working and seeing how much they've grown and continuing to show up and continuing to be coached and continuing to invest in themselves in the work and writing new stories for themselves, they just don't do it. And so those are the two reasons that people don't get what they quote unquote desire, is that their desire was a how. And so, and or they just quit doing it. So this is so huge that this is opened up. And what you're proving is both things, is that when you keep showing up, like, even if you are, like the word you used is stubborn, right? Like if you are so stubborn and you are so clinging to this thing, but if you keep stepping into your future self, like you keep doing that, you will shift. And for you, it was attracting this perfect article that was like,
Yeah.
could help you see it, right? And just as this conversation between us is going to help someone listening go, oh, that's what I'm doing, right? And be able to shift it. Yeah.
Oh, yes. And I'm so happy you answered that question, because one, I'll never stop working towards becoming my future self, so that'll never be my issue. But it's the fact that I've howed something and hid it under, no, it's like what I want, or it's who I'm supposed to, I've never seen it as a how. I thought it was like, maybe now in retrospect, of course it's a how, because I want the life of this person, but that's diminishing myself as a person. I'm so much more than just wanting to be somebody else. So that's huge.
Yay! It's
Yes.
so huge.
Yes, 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 yes. And I hadn't really put it into words until now on this podcast. You heard it here first.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to add to that, or the way that your use of the law of attraction has shifted, or how you've grown, or that you want to add that you really want to make sure to share?
Oh gosh. I mean, there's so many things, but to keep it short, coming back to the present, which is something we've been working on for so long, is being in the present moment, because that's where, if anything's going to happen, it'll only be in the present moment. So that's been really, really huge. And it's so much more easy. It's simpler to be in the moment. It's a training that I've had to go, like, because I'm in the moon, daydreaming so much, but to be in the present and like feel the ground underneath me, smell the flower, that has been also the perfect way to also hear the whispers, right? To be present. Yeah. And that whisper was like, let's go on BuzzFeed, or it like somehow I clicked on it. There's a million articles, but that's the one I clicked on. And it was like reading my own obituary if I stayed the way I was,
Yes.
So that was huge for me.
Amazing. Well, I doubt this will be the last time that we hear from Paulie. We'll get some updates. Obviously, you're going to see her. If you've, I was writing about the episode of Community the other day. So if you've seen Community, everything, you've seen her. If you've watched Emily in Paris, you've heard her speaking French in the background, as well as in many other projects. And I know that you will continue to see her shine in the world, because that's what she's meant to do.
Love it.
Thank you, Paulie, for sharing this amazing journey of growth with us. And I know that your journey is inspiring others and helping them see where they're getting in their own way.
Well, thank you so much for having me and sticking by me.
Of course. And thank you all for listening to Paulie's story. Come back next week for another new story, and keep following Paulie. Where can people find you if they want to just follow your awesomeness?
Well, you can find me on my Instagram, which is Paulie, Paulie _ Golightly, Golighty. Paulie Golightly.
I love it. Awesome. Thank you all, and have a wonderful rest of your day. The telling of stories is so powerful, both to the person telling it and the person receiving it. Since 30,000 BC, we as humans have told stories to teach and guide. And now we, with Manifesting Success Stories, hope to inspire you to what is possible in your own life. If you want more manifesting success, go to moremanifestingsuccess.com, where you'll find links to anything we've talked about on the show. Thank you for joining us today, and remember, you have the power to write your own happy ever after.